Do you ever look at a Jane Austen book and say, you know what, this book needs more of? PTSD. Hello, and welcome to a review. This is my channel, and I'm doing everything weird, but it's fine. I am Pete. This is the Ponderings of Pete, where I sit and think about things and share them on the internet. That's not dangerous, but it's fine. Today, I'm going to be reviewing a book, or spoiler-free review, emphasis, called Guns of the Dawn by Adrian Tchaikovsky. And if you like this review, do the whole thing where you like, subscribe, comment, that whole thing. Specifically, I would love if you comment. I love talking to people about books, and that's kind of why I started this channel. So I would love to hear your thoughts, whether it's about this book or whether you're going to pick it up, or yeah, it's great. That being said, let's get into the review because I am impatient today, and that actually works well for you guys, so you don't have to listen to me ramble on for 5 minutes before I actually start the review. It's great. 5 minutes later. Guns of the Dawn by Adrian Tchaikovsky. So, like the hook thing at the beginning said, this is a Jane Austen. This book is Jane Austen with a splash of PTSD. But it's a lot more than that. Like, that's a vast oversimplification. Really, only about maybe first half of the book is Jane Austen-like. It takes place in a fantasy country, where magic exists, that is in the middle of a war, right? So the Jane Austen part is slightly hindered by the fact that a vast majority of, if not all, of all eligible men are off fighting said war. And this is a problem. So it is Jane Austen with a twist to start out with. And Adrian Tchaikovsky delves into the changes into the lives of our protagonists, just how their lives have changed due to the war, which is not something we see often. Because when you think about high society, it's always in times of peace or times of ignorant peace, where everything is fine and dandy. So he's addressing like what this type of society might look like when not everything is okay. And then we get to the PTSD. About halfway through the book, this isn't a spoiler, I believe this is on the back cover, and this is actually something that is mentioned in the very first chapter. Our protagonist, Emily Marshbrook, goes off to war because she's drafted. Because the king needs more soldiers, and there is nobody left except women. And so she is thrown into this unfamiliar situation. She is trained, she goes to war. She is sent to the swamps. And this is where the military fantasy begins. This is where the flintlock fantasy begins, right? This is the beginning. This world is on the fringe of the Enlightenment period, where the Industrial Revolution is really close, and the neighboring country has actually embraced democracy. And this neighboring country is at war with the monarchy that our protagonist lives under. So, what is the draw of this book? Because these are two very like conflicting kind of books. Like, you never expect these two things to be in the same book. But Adrian Tchaikovsky does it super well. With the introduction of the military fantasy, he really introduces themes of just truth, first of all, which I think is kind of like put on the cover, at least on my version, of the responsibility, those in charge have to be truthful to those under them. He really goes into how people deal with past traumas while dealing with the hell of the present. He goes into just the horror of the never-ending war, right? The war that without end, the war that seems like it's without end, and the trauma that inflicts upon people. Just this war gave me, first of all, Vietnam vibes. Right, because it's in a swamp, and there is that frustrating element of fighting in a swamp that is, a lot. I also get vibes of War of 1812 isn't the right one. I think it was the French Indian War? It was a war that was the French, the English, and the Indians that was in the northern part of America / Canada that I remember reading about in school, but I don't remember the name of. Anyways, that, right? You get the European vibe, mostly because the European vibe combined with the swamps. There's so much I could say about this book, but I can't because it's spoilery. There is a romance. I will say that there is a romance. That's a thing. There is a bit of a love triangle, but it's also one of those ones that I didn't hate, which was great. So it tied very well with everything. Tchaikovsky did a really good job with just tying everything together in this book. I didn't expect the Jane Austen and military side of everything to tie so well together, but with the way that he set up the themes and everything, it really, there's a big bow on top, guys. It ties very well together. This is one of those books that has just stuck with me, and that's why I'm reviewing it. There's so many good things in this book, and you should read it. And it really showcases Tchaikovsky's talent of writing and adapting his writing style to something else, right? Because reading City of Last Chances and then this book back to back was very, very interesting because I saw the best of Tchaikovsky, and they're so completely different. And it's amazing. Read Adrian Tchaikovsky, read Guns of the Dawn, read City of Last Chances, read all of his books because he's a really talented writer. Thanks so much for watching. Also, talking about spoiler thoughts, at some point I will have a spoiler talk with people, probably near the end of April, I believe is the current schedule. I will let you know, probably through Discord or something. I will also probably put a link in this video when it's done. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. I'm not really entirely sure whose channel it's going to be on right now, but we'll see. Thank you so much for watching, and just make sure to get some rest, because rest is super important, and we're all too exhausted nowadays. Good night.